to make this video showing my actual drawing supplies, not what I use for the class, just so you can see that it's not, the stuff for the class is not the only thing that you can really use, and some things might be helpful to you. This is my drawing glove. It is a cotton glove with the fingers cut off the tips. It's the kind of glove used for like art handling, and that keeps me from smearing. This is the kind of paper that I use. It's a very small piece. This is Arch's 300-pound hot press watercolor paper. I buy it in 22 by 30 inch rolls, which if you're not sure how big that is, I don't even know if I can get this along here, but this is a 22 inch by 30 inch roll. So it's very, very big. And that enables me to do larger drawings. This is a very thick paper, so it's very durable and it's smooth, which is what hot press means. So it can withstand a lot of stuff. Like if you even get some marks on there that you can't erase with an eraser, believe it or not, I have a razor blade, if I can't erase it for whatever reason, to scrape the paper. You don't want to do this unless you absolutely are desperate, but if you have something that won't come off and you're working with paper this heavy, you can actually scrape the paper, and you want to work in different directions if you can, and it'll take off the top layer of paper. You don't want to stab the paper, you just want to scrape it lightly. And then probably erase back into it a little bit. It will change a little bit of the surface of the paper, but not that much. So if you have an area that won't come out for whatever reason, and you work with paper this heavy, and this is one reason that I work with paper this heavy, it's possible to get rid of marks. Because some of my drawings take like a month to make, and I don't want to have to start over. So anyway, the rest of my drawing tools, some things that are actually kind of useful that I use, these clips, binder clips, and then I have a piece of the same really thick paper. Actually, I have 3 pieces here folded. And when I work, because my drawings take a really long time to make, I keep a piece of tracing paper folded over my drawing, and I use this to protect it so the binder clips do not smush it. And I work with this covering my paper. My drawings are much larger than this little piece of paper, so I usually just keep the binder clips on my drawing when I work, and I just flip over my paper to draw, because my paper is usually much bigger than this. This is tracing paper. So, this ensures that if you leave it somewhere that an insect won't land on it and completely destroy your drawing with whatever its juices are. And by the way, I buy the tracing paper in rolls like this, large rolls, so I can cover my entire paper. This is just, you can see I was working in colors. I was doing some colors. So when I work in colors, I do a sample page. This is a sample page to see when I test my pencil before I put it down. So it's good to have a sample page. Then what do I have in here? I have leads for both my Tombow Mono and my mechanical eraser. I have electrical erasers. I have these electrical erasers, which I use to get rid of stuff. These are incredibly useful to erase with, and I use them also to draw fur and hair, and they have replaceable little erasers. You want it to come out a little bit. If you want it in a nice sharp point, I often like to take my sandpaper pad and sharpen it along the edge until it becomes a point. It's not quite pointed there, but it'll become a point eventually. And then you'll have more of a point to erase with. So I have 2 of these. I have the Sakura one and the Stadler. Sakura is a really nice brand one. So those are my electrical erasers, and I have all the Sakura refills here. Tombow Mono, it has really tiny little refills, and that is this little tiny guy, and it comes either in like a kind of cylindrical shape or a flat shape. I have the cylindrical ones. I like those, and this is a really great tool to have handy. I also use my Top Step eraser all the time, which you've seen probably in class, and you'll see. What else do I have? So I have an assortment. I have my sanding pads, assortment of stumps, large assortment of different sizes. And I have kneaded erasers here. And I have sharpeners for my pencils, as well as one of these kind of sharpeners, but I usually don't use this. As you've probably seen in class, I like to use the smaller guy if I sharpen this pencil, but actually I don't use, quite honestly, this pencil in my own drawings that I've been using to demonstrate drawings in this class. What I use these pencils. These really small mechanicals. These are really nice Stadler. They come in different sizes. It says 0.707, 0.03, and 0.05 are the ones I use. And my general standard pencil when I start drawing is it's an 07 2B. These are great because you can actually move this little thing here to adjust what the pencil hardness is. And these are little mechanicals, and they require these kind of leads, so you have to buy the leads that fit the pencil. So you can see this is a 0.5 2B right here. So it's got to match. So this wouldn't fit this. I'd have to use, because this is a 0.7, I'd have to find a 0.71. So, but these make a finer kind of lead, and this is usually what I start drawing with because it has a nice point that it never needs sharpening. And you know, they don't make these in 4B leads, or else I'd be buying this in a 4B lead. So 0.7 kind of approximates what I use here with this 2mm 4B. But I also like finer lines. This is a B 0.3, which is a much finer line. So this has a much finer line here. And you know, I have like here the 0.5 in HB, a 2H. You're going to need a 2H or 4H, and this one is in a 0.03, so 0.03. So it's very fine lines. It's important to be able to make extremely light lines and very fine. So these are what I really draw with, but then you can't really get dark values with those. So I have to use, this is a 4B, so that's wrong. I have to use either an 8B or 9B, this is an 8B and a pencil extender, to actually get dark values. So I use these woodless pencils and an 8, 9B, 6, 8, and 9B to get my dark values. So I actually don't use a 4B pencil at all. I mean, I have them in here, here's one, but I don't use them. I use these little guys instead. And I like to lay them out in order so I know which pencil I'm using. I usually go by the weights, so I put my 0.3s lined up, my 0.5s lined up, and my 0.7s lined up, so I know what I'm going to be grabbing. And I think that's about it for my actual drawing tools. Oh, and of course I have a chamois because you can't live without that, and that's for blending. Yeah, I think that's everything. I do have replaceable leads for the pencils that we use in class, but like I said, I don't really even use those. All right, thank you.